So the Ethereum Foundation is coming under some pressure following the release of an annual report, which disclosed that nearly 20% of the foundation's considerable assets are held in, quote, non-crypto assets and investments, end quote. In total, the foundation holds more than $300 million in that category, while the remaining war chest is made up of $1.3 billion worth of crypto, almost all of which is in Ether. As a longtime observer of the space, this seems a little bit like a silly story to me, but what do you think, Sundali?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't really see what the big deal is here. I mean, it's always good to diversify. And given, Ethereum's history, it's had a, tough economic history, lots of volatility there, and making sure you're able to kind of get through a rough patch should it occur is just good sense. I think it's interesting that it has only 11 million in other crypto. Is that right?
Yep.
Like, if you weren't sure about them having faith in Ethereum, that should be the thing that reassures your suspicions. Like, they're all in on ETH, just also maybe being smart. And we don't know what these non-crypto investments are, right? And also, like, we don't like to talk about it too much, but crypto is still very new and still growing its influence in markets. So it's still in the early stages of an integration into, the global financial network. So this is both unsurprising and I think astute on their part. I'm more interested about their switch to proof of stake, which is coming up. But I'm going to pass it to Jen first.
Yeah, I think it's great to think that we live in a world where everything and everyone and every institution can operate on crypto. But the reality is we don't. And so it makes sense that there are non-crypto assets in their treasury, right? So this is very much, again, a non-story for me as well. It just makes sense to diversify. It's smart. I think that maybe we would be a little bit more worried if the treasury was only made up of crypto, just given its volatility and the newness of it. So yes, Adam, I mean, you're someone who's been in the space for so long. Why is everyone so like gung-ho on like not having fiat? We still live in a world that operates on fiat. I'm sorry to say, I know you're watching a show on CoinDesk and we all love crypto, but we still need fiat for now.
Yeah, no, again, kind of echo what everyone else is saying in that it makes sense to have a rainy day fund. I think one of the things that was most surprising to me about this story is how much money they have. They have an incredible amount of money, $1.6 billion in the war chest, including 300 million in non-crypto assets and investments. That is a huge amount of money. And they even could keep it all in crypto at that rate, right? Because if you have $1.6 billion in Ether, well, even if Ether goes down to 1/10 of its current price, which seems reasonably unlikely given current dynamics, you still have a ridiculous amount of money, better capitalized than the vast majority of companies that are out there, even some are publicly traded. So that was kind of interesting to me, is just how much money the foundation has. And given how much money they have, why aren't they spending more of it faster, right? Like, if you have that much money at current Ether prices and your thesis is that Ether is going to become a very, very important systemic asset on a global basis, especially as we move towards the diminished, issuance schedule that will come with proof of stake and the kind of continued push towards all of that. I mean, seriously, like, you could be offering $100 million worth of grants per year and not even really, pulling from the bucket at all. So that was interesting. When I think back to the early days of Bitcoin did not have that sort of support at all. There was a Bitcoin Foundation, but the Bitcoin Foundation, you had to choose to buy a membership in it, and then that membership fee was what gave the company actual money, as well as some donations from companies in the space. So just that I thought was really fascinating. One other point in terms of why are people upset about this? People are upset about this because cryptocurrency is a team sport. And so to the extent that you do anything in the space in a public fashion, which the foundation very much is to the extent that you are signaling to the rest of the space something about what you think. And so to not have everything in crypto signals that you're hedging your bets. And so if you're hedging your bets, it means that you're not fully committed to the narrative. So from a business perspective, and as an entrepreneur in the space, it's much better to have some cash on hand in case crypto really goes against you. I think it's a little bit different when you have this type of money, but still, I think that that's what it is it's the signaling, not the reality, that people are responding to here.
I'm just imagining that like Scrooge McDuck meme and just money flying everywhere. That's what this treasury is to me.
It's a lot of money.